Matthew Arnold, an introduction. Matthew Arnold is rightly placed among the other greats of Victorian poetry, Browning and Tennyson. The son of the founder of Rugby School, he grew up to become a poet via a career as a school inspector. His own words best represent how he came to be so well regarded. My poems represent on the whole the main movement of mind of the last quarter of a century, and thus they will probably have their day as people become conscious to themselves of what that movement of mind is. These poems are read for you by Richard Mitchley and Gisela Rowe.
A Caution to Poets by Matthew Arnold. What poets feel not when they make a pleasure in creating, the world, in its turn, will not take pleasure in contemplating.
Human Life by Matthew Arnold. What mortal, when we saw life's voyage done, his heavenly friend, could ever yet dare tell him fearlessly, I have kept unfringed my nature's law, the inly written chart thou gavest me, to guide me, I have steered by to the end. Ah, let us make no claim on life's incognoscible sea, to too exact a steering of our way. Let us not fret and fear to miss our aim. If some fair coast have lured us to make stay, or some friend hailed us to keep company, aye, we would each fain drive at random and not steer by rule. Weakness and worse weakness bestowed in vain wins from our side the unsuiting consort rive. We rush by coasts where we had lief remain. Man cannot, though he would, live chance's fool. No, as the foaming swath of torn-up water on the main falls heavily away with long-drawn roar on either side the black deep furrowed path, cut by an onward labouring vessel's paw, and never touches the ship's side again. Even so we leave behind, as chartered by some unknown powers, we stem across the sea of life by night, the joys which were not for our use designed, the friends to whom we had no natural right, the homes that were not destined to be ours.
Longing by Matthew Arnold. Come to me in my dreams, and then by day I shall be well again. For then the night will more than pay the hopeless longing of the day. Come as thou camest 1,000 times, a messenger from the radiant climes, and smile on thy new world, and be as kind to others as to me. Or as thou never camest, in sooth, come now and let me dream it truth, and part my hair, and kiss my brow, and say, my love, why sufferest thou? Come to me in my dreams, and then by day I shall be well again, for then the night will more than pay the hopeless longing of the day.
The Future by Matthew Arnold. A wanderer is man from his birth. He was born in a ship on the breast of the river of time. Brimming with wonder and joy, he spreads out his arms to the light, rivets his gaze on the banks of the stream. As what he sees is, so have his thoughts been. Whether he wakes, where the snowy mountainous pass, echoing the screams of the eagles, hems in its gorges the bed of the new-born clear-flowing stream. Whether he first sees light, where the river in gleaming rings sluggishly winds through the plain. Whether in sound of the swallowing sea, as in the world on the banks, so is the mind of the man. Vainly does each as he glides fable and dream of the lands which the river of time had left ere he woke on its breast, or shall reach when his eyes have been closed. Only the tract where he sails he wots of, only the thoughts raised by the objects he passes are his. Who can see the green earth any more as she was by the sources of time? Who imagines her fields as they lay in the sunshine unworn by the plough? Who thinks as they thought, the tribes who then roamed on her breast, her vigorous primitive sons? What girl now reads in her bosom as clear as Rebecca read when she sat at eve by the palm-shaded well? Who guards in her breast as deep, as pellucid a spring of feeling, as tranquil as sure? What bard at the height of his vision can deem of God, of the world, of the soul, with a plainness as near, as flashing, as Moses felt when he lay in the night by his flock on the starlit Arabian waste, can rise and obey the beck of the Spirit like him? This tract which the river of time now flows through with us is the plain. Gone is the calm of its earlier shore, bordered by cities and hoarse with 1,000 cries is its stream. And we on its breast, our minds are confused as the cries which we hear, changing and shot as the sights which we see. And we say that repose has fled for ever the course of the river of time, that cities will crowd to its edge in a blacker, incessanter line, that the din will be more on its banks, denser the trade on its stream, flatter the plain where it flows, fiercer the sun overhead, that never will those on its breast see an ennobling sight, drink of the feeling of quiet again. But what was before us we know not, and we know not what shall succeed. Haply the river of time, as it grows, as the towns on its marge fling their wavering lights on a wider, statelier stream, may acquire, if not the calm of its early mountainous shore, yet a solemn peace of its own. And the width of the waters, the hush of the grey expanse where he floats, freshening its current and spotted with foam as it draws to the ocean, may strike peace to the soul of the man on its breast, as the pale waste widens around him, as the banks fade dimmer away, as the stars come out, and the night wind brings up the stream murmurs and scents of the infinite sea.